And now, Lifestyles Unlimited presents the Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Over the next hour, we unfold your map to financial freedom. You'll learn how to retire through investing in single family and multifamily real estate. You'll learn how to create cash flow and build wealth so you can have the time and money to live the lifestyle you want.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is Andy Webb with Lifestyles Unlimited, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. And how do we do that? How do we help you work on that financial freedom? How do we get you real estate retired? What do we do for you when you want to become a real estate investor at Lifestyles Unlimited? Well, first and foremost, we help you with education, help you learn those things you don't know. 10 years ago when I joined, I knew nothing about real estate investing. So we help you with the education and we help you with mentoring. So you'll know the things you need to know. And then our mentors, they will be by your side to help you when you run into things that you're unsure about, something you've never seen before, even if you're 10 years down the road like I am, maybe you have questions or just need a kick in the pants to get you moving again if you've stalled out. That's what the mentors do. And I'm joined today by one of those mentors. In fact, he's the newest member of our DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth, Single Family Mentoring team. I'm joined by Adrian Johnson. Adrian, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Glad to be here.
Very good. And welcome to the team. We'll talk about the mentoring later in the show, I think, but I like to open and have my guests give a little bit of their background before real estate. What were you doing? Tell us a little bit of your story.
Well, I was a teacher for many years. I've been in education for about 17 years. And so right about the time when I was turning 40, I was thinking about, retiring. I didn't want to have to work till I was 65. So I figured, I was a big Dave Ramsey fan and had 2 paid-for houses and figured if I could get a house, pay it off in like 3 years and, just keep buying and buying and buying. And after I paid off, another one in 15 years, I would be like 65 and I have 7 paid-for houses and I could retire. Well, I ended up coming to Lifestyles and, just checking out the program. And so that was January, I came to Lifestyles, checking out the program. And after joining, I figured out how to not only buy, instead of buying 15 years, 7 houses, I was able to buy 7 houses in 1 year. And
wow.
So that was an amazing experience. And the cool thing about it, we bought our first house the day, because my wife was pregnant with our second son, and the day before she had our son, we closed on a house, and then a few months later, in August, I was turning 40, and so we purchased 5 houses in 1 day.
Wow!
And so but right before our son turned 1, we purchased our last house. So that gave us. We had a house by default because I had a house, got married, we stayed there, and then bought another house, and then just turned that into a rental. And so we had a total of 8 houses by the end of that year.
Very good. So you were the essential accidental landlord through marriage. We see that quite a lot. Hey, if it works, hang on to that thing. But you had both houses paid off. When you bought those 5 houses in 1 day, did you pay all cash?
Yeah, paid all cash. Basically put out about $250,000 in refinance. So we refinanced both houses because you got to think, man, and I want to take people back because you got to think about it. I got a pregnant wife. I have a 1-year-old at the time, pregnant wife, and the craziest thing is to say, hey, let's take a paid-for house and put more debt on it.
Yeah, that's not the Ramsey way, is it?
Yeah, that's totally the opposite Ramsey way. So to have to do that and to be able to do that, and then we had about $100,000 already in the bank, and so that gave us about $350,000. But the cool thing about it, at the end of the story, that we were able. Now people call and say, "Oh, I'm debt free," but you always wonder about those people that make those phone calls, where they at. But the cool thing about this story, after joining Lifestyles, you see the beginning, but I can also show you the end after 4 or 5 years. And basically, we turned $350K into about $1.1 million.
Very good. Yeah, you're right. You hear the debt-free scream, and you don't really know what happens thereafter. Are they still kind of just treading water? Have they grown? Have they just stayed put, essentially status quo? So you're about to hit 40. Is this like a midlife crisis? What was the big motivation to try to figure something out? Obviously, accelerate that retirement. Why real estate, I guess, is my big question.
Well, I figured it worked. And actually in 2012, 13, I came to Lifestyles, but I was already in another real estate group. But so I was like, well, let me try this first one, and I'll circle back if it doesn't work out. Well, let's say it didn't work out. Lost my money, lost about $150K. My retirement, a little bit of her retirement, and you can be a part of the wrong group and, make the wrong decisions and do it the wrong way. And so finally, after trying to recover from that, it took, years to try to recover. And so that's why I circled back around. And, because I did remember that they were saying some cool stuff. And so gave it another try. And just so happened that this was the perfect group that were saying the right things and really genuinely helped and showed us the right way to how to actually do real estate the right way.
We are joined today by our newest member of the Dallas-Fort Worth Single Family Mentoring Team, Adrian Johnson. And Adrian, you were just telling us ahead of the break, I asked you, hey, you are retired now, right? This thing works. You became financially free, real estate retired. You're telling us about your wife. She had a decision to make, six-figure earner, about to have your second child, and had to make a decision. Did she want to stay home with the child or not? Tell us how that went.
And so basically she came out, and so we started buying properties. And that's really why I went into single family, because I wanted to. At that time, we was making real good cash flow. It was not unheard of to see like 700 cash flow. And so I didn't make a whole lot of equity capture when I bought those houses, but I was making a lot of cash flow. And so you got to keep in mind my salary, teacher salary, it was, probably bringing home about $4,500. Well, it decreased about $1,400 because when I put my family on my insurance, it went up. And so it was cool to see that my real estate income, I probably was making about, bringing at the a year, probably making about 60K real estate, and so it had exceeded my regular salary, for as like
wow.
coming in, and so I retired myself. But what I learned after a couple of years, went to the 2-day again, and I think David Fisher was teaching, and what he mentioned was you can have a good life or a great life, and he talked about if you want a great life, you have to tear down those things of a good life to build that great life. So basically, I started selling my homes, and my wife decided to go back to work, and I quit. And I was getting ready to quit to start. So I was going to do the real estate side while she, do the day-to-day stuff. And COVID happened.
Uh-huh.
So she ended up losing her job again, and so I ended up just, working another year as an educator. And pretty much after that, we decided that she would go back and I would sell the houses, take the money, and we're going to get ready to do a multifamily deal. So I'm an aspiring lead, and so we're, hopefully going to be able to purchase our first apartment complex here soon.
Man, you just said a lot, and I'm going to unpack a few things for the listener. First and foremost, as your wife headed to, I guess, to give birth to the second child, you guys said, hey, she's going to stay at home, six-figure income. What you're telling us is you replaced that income with the cash flow from your houses. And not only that, but you were able to absorb the higher cost on your paycheck for the health insurance to cover the family. Boom. So you're cash flowing. We call that cash flow chunking. When you take cash flow, say, from a house or two and are able to cover some expense in your life. Well, you did that with the houses. And, there's some bumps in the road thanks to things like COVID. Extended a year. But Adrian, I've seen you. I've met you. You're not 65. You're far from 65. You retired far, far earlier, didn't you?
Well, yeah. I'm 45. Now, the cool thing, let's address the elephant in the room. Everybody, they call me Adrian, but I'm really known as Black Elvis.
Black Elvis. Okay, tell us, why are you Black Elvis?
Well, see, African American Elvis didn't have a cool ring. Nah, but seriously, I was actually born the day Elvis died, and so the day he died, pretty much you got to keep in mind there wasn't social media back then. You didn't have a lot of forms of communications. Some people didn't have telephones, and so they had to drive from Memphis to Mississippi. I'm rich from Mississippi, and somebody from his camp had to come down and let my mom know it was okay before they come forth.
Aha! Elvis passes. Adrian comes out. Boom! We've got the transfer.
There it is. So it's been a pretty cool experience sharing that information with the, especially the lifestyle group. So.
Well, and I missed your first case study that you presented as a mentor, but I want to put this out there for the listener. You can find the case study. It's online. If you go to YouTube and in the search bar, type in Lifestyles Unlimited Adrian, that's spelled Adrian, you'll find that case study that Adrian did. And boy, you entered. It was very enthusiastic. You were passing out, I don't know, towels. What were you doing there at the case study?
So basically, Elvis, he used to do a show where somebody would put a towel on his back or whatever, or neck, and he would take it, rub a little sweat, and give it to the ladies in the audience. I mean, they would go crazy. So I came out. I had a couple of the realty help me out, and I had one guy down, and he was putting towels on my shoulder while I was handing it out to the crowd. And I had Eileen. She's another one on the realty team. She was holding the Bluetooth speaker. I was coming out with Suspicious Minds called in a trap. We had a ball, and so I was just passing out and giving out Chick-fil-A gift cards, and so we had so much fun. I mean, I talk about I've been to many after that LU events, and maybe I'll be talking to someone, and someone will walk by that know me from Black Elvis, and they'll say, "Oh my gosh, you're Black Elvis!" It has morphed into so many things. I even have like Black Elvis cups, towels and merchandise, right?
You got your brand
on the back of the cup. It says, "I'm the king of no rock and no roll."
But you're doing well in the housing space. That's awesome. I missed that live, but I watched the case study on the website I just mentioned. Going to YouTube, Lifestyles Unlimited Adrian. I found it there and watched that. And man, that was an entrance. I'll give you that. And it's a lot of fun. Real estate it's a numbers thing, and numbers can get boring, but you're keeping it fun. And I think that makes you very approachable as a mentor. Right. Some people need that. I know when we joined 10 years ago, we had trouble sometimes going and talking to our mentor. We thought, man, that's a dumb question. I don't think I want to ask. Lynn was our mentor back then. I don't know if I want to ask her that. But you make it very easy for people to talk to you, and that's great.
It's one of those things, especially in education. It's part of that. I learned to be very good at what as far as like teaching or whatever, helping people. By making them, like you say, that even though they feel like they can't, by showing them they can in ways, to reach them. So in whatever way it took to reach them. And so I think, when you bring humor into it, you get people, their guard, comes down, and, they're able to really, listen to you and connect with you. And I think that's what helped be successful. So that's the whole really thing about the Black Elvis is, hey, we could find some common ground. Everybody loves Elvis, and, just sharing my story. Now people could connect with me and feel comfortable around me because now they know a little bit about, my background and, things in common we have. And so I've had, like you say, I've had a lot of people to, purposely, come to me.
Yeah, very good. Hey, you paused. You heard the music kicking on, as did I, as did the listener. We're going to take a quick break and talk more with Adrian when we come back, so stick around.
Got questions? Call Lifestyles Unlimited at 855-497-4335. The Real Estate Investor Radio Show continues next.
We went from 100% live to 100% virtual. And the funny thing is that nobody wants to go back to work now they work from home, right? So now my members are like, well, Del, we want to keep those virtual things open because now I know all the people in Miami and I know all the people in Chicago. I know all the people now know each other from all over the country because of these virtual events.
The free workshop, How to Retire in 5 Years or Less, is online. Go to lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Andy Webb. If you have any questions for me after today's show, you may have a lot. You can email me to askandy@luinc.com. Now, if you missed any of the earlier part of the show, go to our website, lifestylesunlimited.com. Those shows, this show, all our shows are archived there. If you listen to any of those and have any questions, again, send me an email, askandy@luinc.com. I get a lot of good questions, Adrian, after people hear the shows, and I'm happy to answer as best I can or point them in the right direction. And I'm joined today by Adrian. Adrian became, when did you join Lifestyles? When did you become an active member?
2017.
And we mentioned early on, I think in the first segment, there was a day where you bought 5 houses all at once. How do you do that?
Well, pretty much what happened when we originally bought our current house. I told you that I had a house before I got married, and we stayed there and bought our current house. And so we made that a default. Well, the realtor, she had some rent houses and had someone managing them. And the guy, so we just let him manage our, house that we moved from. And, later on after we joined Lifestyles, come to find out he would sell houses for other members that he was, managing. They would, sometimes be like, hey, sell our house for us. And so he would sell it. And it just so happens he had 5 of them. And they were, newer. It was nice, newer houses. And because most of the time, a lot of people would do the hard money to fix them up and then go into conventional. Well, we were able to go straight conventional because they already had renters, and they were nice, newer homes. And so we were able to, I told them, hey, I want as many as you got. So he had 5. So I had the cash, and so we went straight conventional.
Nice.
I went and got that loan, got that debt.
So you had 2 paid off houses that were essentially all cash. Did a cash out refi on those. So now you got some money to play with, and you put that into these 5 houses. Did you do a portfolio loan across all 5, or did you do each in a separate?
No, just the regular, kind of like one track, just like one in a day. Just happened to be 5 in a day.
Okay.
So it was just, and it took about, I think that took about 210 or so to actually close the deal. So
yeah. So you're doing if they're ready to go, they're occupied. So you already got the income coming in off of that. That works to cover your debt to income ratio. That's how you can do it for one thing. And then just closing 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, 20%, 15-20% down on investment properties is normal with a Fannie Mae type product. So very good, very good. How much cash flow did that add to your bottom line off the start?
Yeah, like I say. I just remember the 7, so it gave me. I know I was probably bringing in about 60K with probably all 8.
Okay, gotcha.
Whatever it is, yeah.
Very good, $5K a month. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Very
the cash flow
nice.
snowball. Your snowball went from good sized to really, really big, really, really fast, and that's the way.
Yeah, and it's amazing because So lifestyle didn't really change after, much after my wife quit. We took the kids, in 2019 before COVID, we took the kids to Legoland for the oldest was turning 5, and we celebrated in Orlando. So we celebrated his 50th birthday. We stayed at the Legoland Hotel, and then we were able to walk across the street to the Lego Park, and for his birthday, they came out with a Lego cake and, a cake and everything and Lego stuff. And so it's just like, after joining Lifestyles, I started really, trying to go for the experiences, because I would go on vacation, but I would be like, well, we can't really spend this. We got to, fit on a little budget here. But now it's like when I go places, I'm like, I not only go, but I try to experience it and be able to, have the money to enjoy it. So
yeah, you don't think about it.
That's the cool thing.
Yeah, you don't have to think about it. You don't have to count down to every last penny and make sure you're gonna balance at the end of the month because you've got that income coming in. That's great. And not only did you create the cash flow now to be able to retire, but I think I saw somewhere you tripled your net worth over the course of that 4 or 5 years. Did I read that right?
Yeah. In about 4 years, pretty much tripled net worth. I could say turned 350 into, like I say, 1.1 mil. So,
wow.
More than triple. So it was a huge jump. And I'm glad you said that because I just got this thought. Basically, with Dave Ramsey, I still had to go to work to pay for houses.
Yep.
But the thing is, when I, with the lifestyle approach, I could actually see my life change. I could actually see that the extra income and how it was affecting my, family and financial future. So, so that's the huge difference for us. Like, we work for like 10 years. Like me and my wife been married about 15 years. We work, probably the first 10 years, at least, making maybe 6 figures with both our incomes. And so, but we probably were only saved. We lived off one income because Dave Ramsey. So we probably able to save like $50,000 a year or something like that. But in the 4 years after joining lifestyle, maybe one of us worked, and we did way better by one person working with having real estate than we did with both, because you can't. I can't go say you can't, but it's hard to save your way. Save your money for like, save your way to retirement because, you need that real estate to really, or the passive income from real estate to really take you to that next level, and
the growth rate is just, it's so much
phenomenal.
faster. Yeah. I mean, if you think about saving, whether it's in an IRA or 401k, those are just glorified savings accounts. Yes, you see some pretty big growth at times. And more recently, we've seen it go the other direction and it's just kind of all over the place. We enjoy our cash flow, but we're also, the equity capture that you mentioned very, very briefly, not real big because you went conventional on that package of 5, but it's grown over time. You have appreciation. You have the equity buildup as your tenant, your resident pays down the mortgage for you. And then we keep a lot more of our money because we've got the big tax advantages. And of course, Adrian, I don't want to rain too much on Dave Ramsey, but I can remember when Dell, he gave a great analogy or created a picture in my mind. He talked about a kind of if you're looking across the landscape, there's this big ditch, this big hole, and someone's standing at the bottom. And Dave, he's on top of the, at ground level, and he reaches down and he helps people get out of that hole, especially those that are in consumer debt and over their head and underwater. He gets them there, but he doesn't get them to the top of the mountain. And if you look up that mountain, there's Dell, and he reaches down and he helps pull you up like he did for you, like he did for me, and build that wealth. And that's the big thing. Get out of that hole. Dave will help you do that, but Dell, he's going to get you to the top. That's what you've got to do.
Because the greatest thing is, when you retire, you'll have $1 million. Well, I don't want to wait 30 years to get there.
Right.
And so, but like one house that we did, give you an example. What was the first house we just sold it. It was five years later, but the first house we bought when we joined Lifestyles, pretty much we just sold it this year. So 5 years later, we were able to get a check for $190 something. So really about $160 because you got to think about you got the 20% in. And so we cleared $160,000 in 5 years. So so you just look at, I got 8 houses. you know what I'm saying? So
yep.
I know I sold a few of them before that for a little less, but I'm just saying, if you got 8 houses and then you're bringing up, 100,000 or so return. I mean, it's kind of like, it's crazy, but you just can't save that. You know what I mean? I could never have saved what I've done and just the equity capture. I mean, it's kind of like, it's crazy, but you just can't save that. You know what I mean? I could never have saved what I've done and just the equity capture. I mean, it's kind of like, it's crazy, but you just can't save that. You know what I mean? I could never have saved what I've done and just the equity capture in just one house.
I thank you for tuning in today. I hope you're enjoying the show. I'm very much enjoying the show. I'm joined today by Adrian Johnson. He's our newest part of the mentoring team here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That's where I sit. That's where Adrian is. And specifically, he's mentoring to single-family houses. Now, we also do apartments, and we also have mentors, very experienced investors that can mentor you on the apartment side as well. But today, we're focused on those houses. And Adrian, we've heard a lot of your story, what motivated you guys to join, and what you've done since joining 4 or 5 years ago. Tripling your net worth is a very, very big deal, especially as we see other people's net worth. What is it doing right now? It's declining in the current environment. But we as real estate investors, we keep growing. And you help people on that path. I want to pivot here and get away from the houses, and let's talk more about what you do now. You're part of the mentoring team. When did you become the single family mentor? How did you get tapped to do that? In fact, let me ask you that.
Well, they had been Lynn had been wanting me to come in for a while, and it just never worked out because with teacher contract, you kind of have to finish the whole year. So I was never able to just, quit and, come work for you guys. Because even I did a case study, like right after I bought those 5 houses, and I was talking to Rick Johnson. He was one of the mentors. And so I was like, man, I can see myself working for this company. Because, I was having so much success, and it's just a great experience. And, never knowing that I would, years later actually become one. And so I had quit education. I was a teacher. A lot of people probably heard that story. And dropped the mic, quit, and, just focusing on our selling homes and, getting ready to, like I say, focus on getting the multifamily apartment. And so I had a friend that I work with, Nicole. She gave me a call and presented the opportunity, and I said yes. So because some people won't understand this, but this is a great point to show. It was not joining for the money or anything. It was joining for the fulfillment, because when I quit education, that's one piece that I missed a lot. It was helping people. And so I'm able to do that now. And, when you'll be strangely surprised that when you don't, we take the money. We don't need the money, but we take the money, right? but you'll be strangely surprised that when you can go to work and you don't, you have your real estate or something like that set up, the boss, or the job doesn't, it takes on a different meaning. You find yourself, more happy because you know that you have options. And that's what happens with a lot of people when they get options and, have that passive income or whatever, the real estate behind them. So, working is different. You're happier, and so that's what it is now.
Yeah, I'll second that. I went through that phase as well, as my passive income exceeded my expenses and then met and exceeded my income. It's like, well, I don't really have to work. It's kind of a devil may care attitude. Now, I still worked ethically, still had a good work ethic, all that good stuff, but I didn't have the boss didn't have me by the neck any longer. If I needed to move on, I could, and I did, and you did, and it's a great feeling. But you weren't feeling fulfilled as a teacher. I get that. You like to work with people. You like to help people. How do you do that now as a mentor? Tell us a little bit about the mentoring role.
Well, we're here basically. We kind of help people for us, like they come in, they're brand new, they don't know anything. Maybe a little experience, and we pretty much stand in the gap for whatever area that they need help. I have questions. There's no, silly or dumb, stupid question. Like this one couple, the husband, he went over. I was working with him a lot, him and his wife, and he had to go over to another country, and so his wife was like, "Are you going to be there with me to help me if I find a deal?" I'm like, "Hey, I'm right here," and just so happens a couple of deals came up. They didn't go through, but a couple of deals came up, and she was right there texting me, calling me, emailing it. And I was, even though her husband was across the country, hey, I was still right there, mentoring, and she felt so comfortable and so able to feel like she could do it. So that's the type of support we give. We're right there, helping people, showing them the right way to do real estate and the right way to be successful, that they avoid pitfalls. When I first moved to Texas, they have Six Flags, and I would get the pass, and anybody that would come out, we would go out there. But after, going out there for years and years, I was able to show people, because normally the tourists, you could tell them, they come, first thing in the morning, they get the tickets, maybe a 2-day pass or whatever, and they're trying to get their money's worth, and they're out there in the hot sun waiting in the long lines. But what I learned was, you can go out there about 4 or 5 o'clock, and you can pretty much ride all the rides you want to ride, because everybody, you get the parking up close because tourists are leaving. You go in and the lines aren't as long because, like I said, it's been all day. They're hot and they're leaving, and so you can pretty much ride, do pretty much everything you want to do. Like at 5 o'clock, and enjoy yourself and go home versus being out there all day. And so that's that mentoring side. We show you how to come in. Let's not play with real estate and try to figure it out. We can show you a proven map to where, if you follow it, you're going to get the results more likely that everybody else has got. And so we had a guy this year. He joined in March, and he bought a property in July, bought a property in August, bought 2 properties in September, and he's captured over $200,000 in 6 months. I mean, he was, 55, didn't have a retirement, kids are gone, him and his wife trying to figure out what they're going to do. And so, showing them the map, working with them, like I say, in 6 months, he's turned the situation around.
Yeah, very good. And we hear from these folks that, just like you did, you mentioned you presented at a case study. I had that opportunity many years ago, a couple different times. That's one of the ways we as members give back, is by sharing our story, sharing the numbers. And you as a mentor, you kind of help steer that. You're one of our hosts essentially at the case study, right?
Yes, sir.
Cool. And I want to mention this because I've referenced the case study you presented at when you made your grand entrance as Black Elvis with the music, with the towels. You can watch those that have already occurred if you go to YouTube. Again, for this particular case, look up Lifestyles Unlimited, Adrian, Adrian, in the search bar. You'll find his case study. Phenomenal. But if you're interested in coming to a future case study, you can do that live in person in our offices, or you can do that on the internet. Go to our website, LU, that stands for Lifestyles Unlimited, LUCasestudy.com, and you can see those coming dates, not just here in Dallas-Fort Worth, right, Adrian? We do those in Houston, Central Texas, Phoenix, nationally. It's a good place to go, and I love going to them because I get to talk to guys like you that are present. I go live in person here in Dallas, of course, but I watch them online as well. It's very inspirational to hear those numbers, like you were just talking about. The gentleman, 55, no real safety net, but he built it.
Yeah, and what's powerful is you see, like when I first started going, around 2017, you will see people. And, you talk to them, and they'll say, hey, I'm getting ready to do this or do that. And then you'll fast forward, a year or two late, you'll see them again or something, and you'll hear their story and what they've accomplished. And, it's phenomenal. And being around, like I say, 5 or so years, I've had a chance to see a lot of people and, talk to a lot of people and see their story. And it's amazing how, they were afraid, to do that first deal. And now they've done, 6 or 7 deals. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so it's like, it's so powerful to be able to see that they did it. You start believing that you can. And that's how I had so much success. I would listen to other people, and I would tell myself, you know what? There's nothing different about them. I can do it. And then having that support system, and it's just been amazing in my life. My family, like I say, we've, nothing's the same. Nothing's the same. So,
yeah, you've changed that trajectory massively.
Oh, correct. Yeah. So it's, I just would want to reach out to people that are listening. Listen, if you're, going to that job and, you don't want to be there and, you want to retire in 5 years or less, and maybe you're afraid, never done real estate, and, this is your chance to, make a change. I know it could be scary. And keep in mind, my wife is pregnant. I'm scared. I don't, I had my little default rent house, but I didn't know what I was doing, trying to recreate that. And so I'm like literally I'm just like trusting this, I think I can do it. So I just kept, staying in the environment and, kept coming to the case studies and staying around the people that's, lifestyle people and lifestyle environment. And, and soon I was able to start changing. Like that saying, the 5 people, your friends that you become like, you're making the same thing. That's true. I'm telling you, my income changed, and just certain ways I look at life, and things that I would hold on to, I started letting those things go, and realizing that
you surrounded yourself with success. That's all it is. Get away from those people that might be pulling you down. Surround yourself with the people that are successful. They'll help you change your mindset. Adrian, you are very successful, and people have now the opportunity to follow in your tracks and have your guidance as they try to do the same thing. And I think that's the big message. And to the listener, Adrian he encouraged you, come on out, check out those case studies, lucasestudy.com. Hey, we're at the end of the show. Adrian, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your story. I will see you out and about in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Looking forward to it. Y'all have a good day.
The information and opinions you hear on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show are those of the hosts, guests, and callers. The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.